morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman.
And to all the viewers, contractors watching the YouTube, social media platform. First and foremost, before we start the program activity, may we request our head procurement unit, Sir Angel Portales, to please lead the opening prayer.
Tumayo po tayong lahat at kamay natin ang presensya ng ating Panginoon. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. Panginoon, maraming salamat po sa patuloy yung pagbibigay sa amin ng lakas ng katawan, patuloy yung pagbibigay sa amin ng malinis na puso, at pagbibigay niyo sa amin ng kapayapaan. Maraming salamat, Panginoon. Maraming salamat din, Panginoon, sa ibinigay niyo sa aming karunungan upang gampanan ang gawain niyo, Panginoon. Sa oras na ito po, inihiling po namin na basbasan po ninyo kami at ang gawain ito upang maging matagumpay na sa katuparan ng lahat ng ito, Panginoon. Inihiling po namin ito upang mapagtagumpayan ng aming opisina at maka-accomplish kami para ng maganda ngayong 2024. Ang lahat po ng ito ay hinihiling namin sa pamamagitan ng Jesucristo, ang aming Panginoon. Amen.
May we request again our head box secretariat, Engineer Portales, to please read the rules of attendance and the agenda of previous conference.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Our attendance for today's meeting for the pre-bid conference of contract ID 23EF0000118 to 23EF0124. Today, January 10, 2024. Sir Eugenio Alcatol, back chairman.
Present.
Sir Ronald Supanga, back vice chairman.
Present.
Ma'am Maria Pirtayaw, back member.
Present.
Ma'am Maria Yayo, back member.
Present.
Sir Julius Kakatsa, back member.
Present, sir.
Our back secretariat, Arnel Portales, Raquel Ros, and Cherry Larawan. Okay. Our agenda of pre-bid conference today, January 10, 2024, for the pre-bid conference of contract ID number 23EF0118, construction of multipurpose building at Barangay Bagong Sikat, Narra, Palawan. 23EF0119, construction of multipurpose building at Barangay Bono-Bono in Batarasa, Palawan. 23EF0120, construction of multipurpose building at Barangay Bonog in Rizal, Palawan. 23EF0121, construction of multipurpose building at Barangay Calasagin in Brooks Point, Palawan. 23EF0122, construction of multipurpose building at Barangay Kalumpang in Quezon, Palawan. 23EF0123, construction of multipurpose building at Barangay Kulisian in Rizal, Palawan. And lastly, 23EF0124, construction of multipurpose building at Barangay Iraray in Sopronio, Española, Palawan. Number 1, agenda. We have the brief presentation, explanation by the following. Letter A, basic contract data, including contract description, ABC, duration, and duration. Letter B, requirements of bidding documents, including instruction to bidders, general conditions of contract, special conditions of contract, specifications, drawings, bill of quantities, and forms. And letter C, documents to be submitted by the bidders. Under that, we have the number 1 technical component envelope, and under that number 1, we have the Class A documents. Letter A, legal documents. Letter B, technical documents. letter C, financial documents, and letter D, Class B documents. Under the letter C, we have number 2, financial component envelope. Under the number 2, we have letter A, financial bid form. Letter B, bid prices in the BOQ. Letter C, detailed estimate. And letter D, cash flow by quarter. And we have the, under the number 1, we have the letter D, criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification and award. And number 2 agenda, we have questions, comments from bidders and replies of back and other representatives of procuring entity. Number 3, summary of proceedings including supplemental bid bulletins to be issued. And number 4, other matters. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Sir Portales. May we request our Vice Chairman, Engineer Ronald Supana, to discuss the basic contract data.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
For the basic contract data for these 7 projects, which is scheduled for bidding on January 23, 2024, 10 a.m. We have 7 projects. For the first contract, typical po ang mga project na ito. Lahat sila ay construction ng multipurpose building. So, for the first contract, contract ID 23EF0118, the contract name is Construction of Multipurpose Building at Barangay Bagong Sikat. This contract is located at Narra, Palawan. Yan po ang first na contract. For the second contract ID 23EF0119, the contract name is Construction of Multipurpose Building at Barangay Buno-Buno. The contract location is at Batarasa, Palawan. For the next contract, contract ID 23EF0120, the contract name is Construction of Multipurpose Building at Barangay Buno. This contract is located at Rizal, Palawan. Next contract is contract ID 23EF0121. The contract name is Construction of Multipurpose Building at Barangay Calasagin. The contract location is at Brooks Point, Palawan. Then, next contract is contract ID 23EF0122. The contract name is Construction of Multipurpose Building at Barangay Kalumpang. This contract is located at Quezon, Palawan. Next contract, contract ID 23EF0123. The contract name is Construction of Multipurpose Building at Barangay Kulasian, Rizal, Palawan. And the last contract is contract ID 23EF0124. The contract name is Construction of Multipurpose Building at Barangay Iraray. This contract is located at Sopronio, Española, Palawan. Gaya po ng nabanggit kanina, typical po ang mga projects na to. Meron silang the same brief description, the same approved budget for the contract or the ABC, same source of fund, same contract duration, the same cost of bidding documents, and the pickup license requirement. So ang brief description po for these 7 contracts, it is a construction of 10 meters by 20 meters 2-story building with 3 by 5 meters entrance ports. Yung building po na ito ay mayroong multi-purpose hall, may dalawang offices, mayroong records room, staff room, toilets, 2 quarters, meron din siyang 3-chambered na septic vault, meron din siyang furnitures, CCTV system, concrete parking space at the front, and 2 slide. So, ang ABC po ng 7 projects na to, meron itong ABC na 9,900,000 each po yan, each project. The source of fund for the 7 projects, it is funded under FY 2023 RA 11936, regular 2023 current, or yung unprogrammed appropriation. The contract duration is 150 calendar days. Each po yan, each project, meron silang 150 calendar days na duration. And the cost of bidding documents for each project is 10,000 pesos. And the pickup license requirement kada project ay small bid. So that's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Sutana, for the information. May we request Board Member Madam Engineer Maria Tecayo to discuss the requirements of bidding documents.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
These are the requirements of bidding documents, which include instruction to bidders, general conditions of contract, special conditions of contract specifications, drawing, bill of quantities, and forms. For the instruction to bidders, the bidders must submit their technical and financial component sealed envelope into one big envelope. All interested bidders may acquire a complete set of bidding documents at Procurement Unit Office, Back Building, DPWH, Palawan 2nd DPO, Narra, Palawan, upon payment of applicable fee for bidding documents pursuant to the latest guidelines issued by the GPTB in the amount stated by Vice Chairman Engineer Magsupanga on the basic contract data, or it may also be downloaded free of charge from DPWH website www.dpwh.gov.ph and from the PhilJEP's website www.philjeps.gov.ph, provided that the bidders shall pay the applicable fee for the bidding documents not later than bid submission. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically online. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic. Similar to manual submission, the guidelines for preparation and submission of electronic bid are obtained in the bidding documents. Bids must be received by the Bank Secretariat through DPWH Building 2nd floor, Back Room, Narra, Palawan for manual submission, or at electronic bids, Palawan 2 at dpwh.gov.ph for electronic submission. All bids must be accompanied by bid security in any of the acceptable forms in the amount stated in ITB Clause 16. For bid submission, the contractor's representative shall submit the copy of contractor's registration certificate or CRC or special power of attorney together with the government-issued ID. Bid opening shall be on January 23, 2024, 10 a.m. at DPWH Building, 2nd floor, Backroom, Narra, Palawan. Bid will be opened in the presence of the bidder's representatives who choose to attend the activity. Late bids shall not be accepted. For the general conditions of the contract or the GCC, the purpose is to provide standard terms and provisions of the contract applicable in all contracts in general, without detailed information and data specific to the contract at hand. The GCC defines the contractual requirements of the obligations of both the procuring entity and the contractor at hand. These are the obligation of the procuring entity is to provide you the plans, inspections, and tests. For the contractor's obligation, number 1 is to carry out works per contract in accordance with the plans and specification within contract duration. Number 2, the contractor shall employ a key personnel indicating their designation in accordance with ITB Clause 13.3 and specified in the BDS to carry out the supervision of works. The procuring entity will approve any proposed replacement of key personnel only if the relevant qualifications and abilities are equal to or better than those of the personnel listed in the schedule. Number 3 is the posting of performance security. This shall guarantee the contractor's performance of its contract obligations after the certificate of acceptance, after the defects liability period, and upon submission of the required warranty security if acceptable. The performance security shall also guarantee the recoupment of any advance payment. It must be posted in favor of the procuring entity and shall be forfeited in the latter's favor if it is established that the winning bidder is in default in any of its obligations under the contract. The GCC shall remain unchanged. Kaya meron tayong special conditions of the contract or the SCC. The purpose is to provide contract specific information in relation to the corresponding clauses in the general conditions of the contract. The SCC shall specify contractual requirements linked to the special circumstances of the procuring entity and works procured. Some contents of the SCC are the intended completion and start date, required description of works, type of structures and warranty period, the amount and schedule of advance payment. Contractors' key personnel equipment requirements are stated in the bid data sheets. For the specifications shall reflect necessary minimum requirements. It should promote the broadest possible competition while assuring structural integrity and performance of the structure. For DPWH contracts, standard specifications for public works and highways are the Blue Book. It shall be the basic standards to be met by the materials and works to be performed. For projects na ito ay buildings, so meron tayong volume 3. Standard 3 items in the PCMA is used. Modifications in DPWH standard specifications shall be the special provisions of the contract at hand. For the drawings, this is our plan. It varies with the type and nature of contract and of works involved. It represents, in accordance with accepted national and international standards and practices for infrastructure contracts based on detailed engineering, which form part of design outputs. It consists of layouts, plans, profiles, elevations, site location, and perspective in sufficient detail and scale, complemented by specs to enable the bidder and the contractor to gain clear, accurate presentation of required works. It is also a reference or guide in the implementation of project. For the bill of quantities or the BOQ, the purpose is to provide sufficient information on the quantities of works to be performed under the contract at hand, to enable the bidder to prepare bids efficiently and accurately. Yung BOQ po natin ay may 6 columns. Columns 1 to 4 is to be filled up by the procuring entity, and columns 5 to 6 to be filled up by the bidder. The bidder shall not change the entries under pay item, which is in column 1, description in column 2, unit in column 3, and quantity in column 4, which are set by the procuring entity for each item in the BOQ. The bidder shall indicate its unit bid price in words and in figures in column 5 and its total bid price in column 6. Kailangan po magkatugma ang inyong words and in figures. The PWG will check your submitted BOQ from posted BOQ. Any discrepancy in your submitted BOQ is modification of bidding documents and it is patently insufficient. Lagi rin po mag-update sa field jobs baka meron din na tayong leave ulitin at may pagbabago sa previous posting. The last is yung forms. Lahat ng ating forms ay standard, updated, at lahat ng ating requirements na ito, ng bidding documents ay nakapost sa field jobs and DPWH website na pwede nyo po i-download for free. That's all, Mr. Chairman, for the requirements of bidding documents.
Thank you, Madam Engineer Kaya, for the information. May we request DAP member, Madam Marley Ayayo, to please discuss further the documents to be submitted by the bidders.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So here are the documents to be submitted by the bidders. For technical component envelope, we have here two classification of documents, the Class A and Class B documents. So under po sa Class A documents, meron pa rin po tayong three types of documents: the legal documents, technical documents, and financial documents. So what are the legal documents to be submitted? Number one, valid PhilJets registration certificate, platinum membership, complete in 3 pages. Number two, registration certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Department of Trade and Industry, DTI, for sole proprietorship, or Cooperative Development Authority, CDA, for cooperatives or its equivalent document. Number three, mayor's or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive economic zones or areas. And number four, tax clearance per Executive Order number 398, Series of 2005, as finally reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. For technical documents, number one, statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Number two, statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid, except under conditions provided under the rules. Number three, Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board, or PCAB license, or special PCAB license in case of joint ventures, and registration for the type and cost of the contract to be bid. Number four, original copy of bid security. If in the form of a surety bond, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission, or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration. Number five, project requirements, which shall include the following: organizational chart for the contract to be bid, list of contractors' key personnel such as project manager, project engineers, materials engineers, and foremen to be assigned to the contract to be bid with their complete qualification and experience data. List of contractors' major equipment units which are owned, leased, and or under purchase agreements supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project as the case may be. And also list of material testing equipment apparatus or certification from technical working group as proof na complete na po ang inyong equipment apparatus and na-inspect na po ng technical working group. Another is the original duly signed omnibus sole statement, and if applicable, original notarized secretary certificate in case of a corporation, partnership or cooperative, or original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture, giving full power and authority to its officer to sign the omnibus sworn statement and 2 acts to represent. Number 2, original or duly signed bid prices and the bill of quantity. Number 3, duly accomplished detailed estimates form, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rental used in coming up with a bid. And number 4, cash flow by quarter. So, paalala lang po sa lahat ng mga bidders na dapat po ang inyong mga documents to be submitted must be filled out completely in clear copies, readable, paginated, and duly signed by the bidder. Ang gagamitin po natin size ng bond paper ay A4 size of bond paper. And take note lang po, any missing, incomplete, or patently insufficient document and the above mentioned checklist is a ground for outright rejection of your bid. So that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Ayayo, for the clear information and well-defined explanation. May we request BAC Member Engineer Julius Cacacha to please discuss the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification, and award.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
These are the criteria and procedures for examination and evaluation of bid proposals. First is the eligibility check. Next is the preliminary examination of bids, the detailed evaluation of bids, the post-qualification, and the award. First is the eligibility check. This is a simultaneous processing of electronic eligibility and manual checking of submitted legal, technical, and financial documents. The manual checking of eligibility is a non-discretionary pass or fail or presence and absence of required documents. Any missing or expired documents means ineligible. The BAC will check manually the submitted legal and financial documents such as PhilJEP Certificate of Registration, SEC, DTI or the CDA registration, Mayor's and Business Permit, and Tax Clearance Certificate per Executive Order Number 398 Series of 2005. The financial documents such as audited financial statement and computation of financial contracting capacity of the NFCC. The PhilJEP's registration should be valid and platinum membership, complete in 3 pages, and all documents must be updated. Missing or expired documents means failed or ineligible in manual eligibility. For the electronic checking, authorized administrator will process the electronic eligibility of the bidders using the system provided for CWA or the Civil Works application. This is a database of contractors' legal, financial, and technical information. All bona fide contractors who wish to do business with the department are encouraged to enroll eligible in electronic eligibility. The next criteria is the preliminary examination. Technical and financial documents required as prescribed in IRR 9184 against the checklist to ascertain that they are present using the non-discretionary criterion as stated in the instruction to bidders. If a bidder submitted the required documents, it shall be rated passed for that particular requirement. Bids that fail to include any requirement or are incomplete or patently insufficient shall be rated as failed. Any missing document means failed or automatically disqualified. The statement of the prospective bidder of all ongoing government and private contracts, including awarded contract but not yet started, should be declared and filled up in the prescribed format. Certification of compliance of laboratory equipments issued by the head of the technical working group must be present. In case of new contractors, proof of ownership or purchase must be attached. The laboratory equipments must be company-owned, neither rented or leased. The omnibus zone statement or the OSS must be complete in 10 statements. Failure to comply with these requirements should also result to the outright disqualification of your bid proposal. Next is the second envelope or the financial documents. Same as with the first envelope, non-discretionary pass or fail criteria or presence in absence of documents. Any missing documents means failed. If present means passed. After determining compliance in the first envelope and rated passed, the box shall open the second envelope. For bidders whose first envelopes were rated failed, their second envelope will not be opened. It will be returned to the bidder or any authorized representative unopened. In case any of the requirements in second envelope is missing, incomplete or patently insufficient, and or if the submitted total bid price exceeds the ABC, shall be rated failed. The ABC shall be the upper limit or ceiling for the prices. Only bids that contain all bid requirements of both components shall be rated passed. The above item is in the opening and preliminary stage. The next criteria is the detailed evaluation of bids of the technical working group. This is the detailed evaluation of the bid. All block DPWH will check all required items in bidding documents. That includes the following. First is the unit price or cost of item in the POQ of column 5 and 6. Placing no price is considered as non-responsive, while specifying a zero or dash means it is offered for free and it is responsive. The minor arithmetical corrections in case of discrepancies between the bid price versus the bid prices in words, the bid prices in words will prevail. The total price per item versus unit price per item quantity, unit price per item quantity will prevail. The stated total price versus the total sum of prices of component items, the total sum of prices of component items will prevail. And the unit cost in the detailed estimate versus the unit cost in the BOQ, the unit cost in the BOQ will prevail. The next criteria is the post-qualification of the technical working group. This is to determine whether the bidder with the lowest calculated bid complies with and is responsive to all requirements and conditions of eligibility and the bidding of the contract to be declared the lowest calculated responsive bid. This is also the verification and validation of the bidder's stated competence and experience, including the single largest completed contract of the SLCC, similar to the contract being procured. The verification of competence and experience of the bidder's key personnel to be assigned to the contract as against the minimum requirements under the bid data sheet. If proposed key personnel is an employee of the bidder and working on another project at the same time of the bidding, the bidder shall submit a certification that the personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded the contract. He or she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualifications as certified by the head of the implementing office pursuant to Department Order Number 9 Series of 2012. The proposed key personnel and replacement must be named in the bidding document. The verification of availability and commitment and of inspection and testing for the required capacities and operating conditions of major equipment units to be owned, leased, and purchased by the bidder for the use in the contract under bidding. The technical working group will conduct verification to all government and private offices to validate the performance of the bidder of its all ongoing and awarded projects with the lowest calculated bid. If any of these contracts shows in a single contract deficiencies, if failure of the contractor to commence repair works on contracts with pending certificate of acceptance within 30 days and to complete the works within 90 days after receipt of the procuring entity's notice of defects and failures, the substandard quality of works as per contract and specifications, the unsatisfactory performance of the contractor's obligations as per contract terms and conditions at the time of inspection, or the liquidated damages currently imposed in the contract. The results of the contractor's performance evaluation system, or the CPS, should also be considered by the concerned body in determining the responsiveness of the contractor's bid before any award of the contract can take place, as stated in Item 12.5 Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. The legal aspects should also be checked. The authenticity and validity of licenses, permits, certificates, and agreements, and if the contractor is not included or not blacklisted. If the BAC determines that the bidder with the lowest calculated bid, lowest calculated and responsive bid, the hope shall approve or disapprove the recommendations of the BAC within a period not exceeding 7 calendar days from the termination and declaration of the BAC of the lowest calculated responsive bid. Failure of bidding shall only be declared if no bids are received. All prospective bidders are declared ineligible. All bids fail to comply with all the bid requirements or fail post-qualification. And if the bidder with the lowest calculated responsive bid refuses without justifiable cause. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Kakacha. Well spoken, well done. For the summary of proceedings, the BAC chairman will convene the Bids and Awards Committee members to conduct the bid opening of the following activities. The first...
Sa ngayon, Mr. Chairman, wala pa. Subalit kung magkakaroon man, ipopost namin kagad yan sa DPWH website saka sa PhilJeps. At yung mga prospective bidders natin, paki-monitor na lang. Yun lang po.